My penis was oscillating between extremely sensitive and borderline traumatized.
This one's wife. World exclusive. She is a dolphin. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Well, in a startling turn of events, the woman that we all thought was a seal now turns out to be a dolphin. Yes, I was rather certain that she was a seal. After all, we've seen numerous occasions where she's done a jolly good impression of a seal, as she's using those oversized man hands like flippers, trying to attract the attention of her keeper in order to throw some fish to her. But now comes the startling and quite revelationary news that in actual fact she's a dolphin. Who'd have thought it? Where does this all come from? Well, it comes from an instance of demonstrating the grandiosity of this one's wife. Grandiosity is seen with all narcissists. Some are more grandiose than others. There are those that use the term grandiose narcissist. I don't like that because I find that it's too vague. As I've just mentioned, you will find elements of grandiosity across very different types of narcissist, and therefore it's better to talk about grandiosity as a trait rather than being an actual category of narcissist. Certain narcissists are particularly grandiose. Those are the ones that probably accord with many people's popular conception of what a narcissist is. The boasting, bragging individual, always showing off, always making themselves the centre of attention by demonstrating how brilliant they are at whatever else is happening. They're always there with a ready put down and to elevate themselves. Hey, yeah, I've got a stereo like that, but mine's better. Yeah, I've got a shirt like that, mine suits me better, and so forth. Those individuals will lose no opportunity to put you down whilst drawing attention to their sense of style, their intelligence, their good looks, their brilliance at golf, whatever it might be. Nevertheless, even your more reserved narcissists, if you could describe it as such, will demonstrate grandiose traits from time to time with regard to the things that I might say. They may not come in like a wrecking ball of grandiosity, but they certainly exhibit it, and it may be with regard to certain instances or certain aspects of the construct that has been created that shows they're grandiose with regard to their business, or grandiose, for instance, in relation to their family, grandiose perhaps in relation to their social network, grandiose with regard to their wealth, grandiose to their breeding, and so forth. Thus, there are many different ways that a narcissist will manifest grandiosity. Grandiosity can be seen in the narcissist in terms of showmanship. It can be demonstrated by believing themselves to be better than anybody else, the use of flowery language, engaging in financial largesse, being prone to exaggeration, making claims about being a better parent, being boastful, being vain, engaging in detailed monologues, and more besides. Those are all grandiose traits, and whilst, as I mentioned, there are some narcissists who will exhibit that grandiosity on a huge and obvious scale, in other instances it appears less often. That's the case with this one's wife. She doesn't necessarily bowl into a room and start boasting about the new yacht that she's bought, perhaps yacht being a bad choice for her. But what she does do is exhibit her grandiosity with certain aspects of her life, and this is rather well shown in relation to something called fashion chatter that took place recently between this one's wife and the New York Times. Vanessa Friedman reports, "Many things have changed since Harry and this one's wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, moved from London to California. The couple has blown up the myth of Windsor unity, had a second child, opened up to Oprah Winfrey, participated in a documentary about themselves, and otherwise become tabloid fodder. Depending on your point of view, they are either champions of the battle against a hidebound racist establishment or grifters out for themselves." Through it all, however, apparently, this one's wife's ability to move merchandise has remained notably high, has it? So much so that in 2020 she started to put her money where her taste was, oh dear, and began investing in a small portfolio of female-run companies. The latest, Sesta Collective, which specialises in basket bags that are hand-woven by a collective of women in Rwanda and finished in Italy. This one's wife originally discovered the brand while online shopping. I spend a lot of time just Googling, looking for brands, this one's wife said last week on a call from her home in Monte Shitshow, just after she and Harry had returned from a tour of Colombia. Wait, what do you mean you spend a lot of time Googling? Aren't you busy looking after your children? Aren't you busy running a household? Aren't you busy making jam for American Riviera Orchard retirement homes? Aren't you busy creating brilliant content for Netflix? Would appear not. The fact that she spends a lot of time just Googling, looking for brands, tells us quite a lot of the idle nature of this woman. Something, of course, I've repeatedly reminded you of. She continued by stating, when people are online looking for things or reading things, I'm trying to find great new designers, especially in different territories. Presumably by different territories, she means places which are cheap that she can exploit. It should hardly be a surprise. This one's wife wore a Sesta bag to a dinner date she and her husband had in May 2023 with Cameron Diaz, Gwyneth Paltrow and their spouses. Let's clarify. She perhaps wore that bag to a dinner date with her husband, where she walked past Cameron Diaz, Gwyneth Paltrow. Afterwards, as photos of this one's wife with the bag spread, Sesta's founders, Erin Ryder and Courtney Weinblatt Fasciano, said they noticed an almost immediate uptick in interest. We were on our way to Mexico to shoot a lookbook. What the fuck's that? Ms. Ryder said. We got off the plane, got our internet on, and all of a sudden this one style that had been a little bit sleepy was totally sold through, and we were getting a lot of back-in-stock sign-ups. We knew there had to be some reason that these were selling so quickly. So Courtney did some internet sleuthing to find out. We had more sales in one day than we've ever had. She and Miss Fasciano wrote this one's wife a thank you note. They said a relationship ensued, and this summer she offered to become their first outside investor. This one's wife would not say how much money she had put into the brand, or what ownership percentage she has, but Ms. Ryder and Ms. Fasciano confirmed it was a minority stake. Thus, this one's wife decides to utilise the investment of some of her residual benefits into this fashion brand. This one's wife said she realised how much attention was focused on her clothing choices in 2017, following her engagement to Harry, when she wore a bag from the Scottish brand Strathbury for a public appearance with him. A founder of Strathbury said the bag had sold out online in 11 minutes after this one's wife was seen with it. Now, let's pause there. An important distinction to make here is it's not because this one's wife is popular that people want to buy things, but rather some of the things that she has, people see it and think, oh, that's rather nice, I'd like one too. And the only reason they're aware of that is because this one's wife gets a lot of publicity. Now, the makers and sellers of these products won't give a rat's ass as to which route it goes by, but this one's wife's narcissism will seize on the concept of, when I wear something, people want to buy it. Therefore, I am a fashion icon. Whereas actual fact, it relates to this. She just happens to be highly photographed and talked about because she is a controversial figure that attracts a lot of clicks. And in so doing, certain items that she has, people see. For instance, you can't really wear a bag wrong, can you? So even if the bag doesn't necessarily suit her, you see that and think, oh yeah, I like the look of that, I'll have one too. I'd be interested to see if anybody could be bothering their arses, and I suspect not, because they've got better things to do, like mowing the lawn and brushing their teeth, that if you were to look at everything that she's worn and then looked at requisite sales effect thereafter to see just how often there is a spike, I suspect that for the most part, it's limited in impact. And of course, the press will only pick certain instances where it shows and not tell you about the instances where it doesn't appear. A little bit like that gambler who then posts on social media that they've just got that big win of several £1,000s, and they don't detail every single time they've lost, which far outweighs their win. With this one's wife, we know, and it's even to the untrained eye, that much of what she wears doesn't suit her, doesn't fit her, doesn't look good on her, and therefore most people are not going to purchase it. You might get some people who'd say, actually, I quite like that. It would look better on me than it would on her, and obtain it. But this article, this interview, first of all, why? And secondly, it exhibits the grandiosity of the narcissist, which is simply to say, look at me. I wear something, people want to buy it. So then I decided that I would invest in a brand, and let's all talk about it. When this one's wife learned that the boost in publicity and sales she had caused had helped Strathberry expand its workforce, it changed everything in terms of how I then looked at putting an outfit together, she said. Bullshit. More likely, it's dark, I'll just throw this on. I don't know what I look like. It's not that different from dressing for a role, but the role is her. Times where I know there is a global spotlight and attention will be given to each detail of what I may or may not be wearing, then I support designers that I have really great friendships with, and smaller up-and-coming brands that haven't gotten the attention that they should be getting, she said. That's one of the most powerful things that I'm able to do, and that's simply wearing like an earring. Well done. Very impressive. You have obtained global fame, and you use it for wearing clothes. You truly are a vacuous and banal individual. This one's wife's financial support is nice, Miss Fasciano said, but her gesture of faith in Sesta is even more important for the business. Ms. Ryder and Miss Fasciano are the only full-time employees at the company, which has an annual revenue of about $1 million. Its founders said, its bags, which cost hundreds of dollars, are typically produced in small batches of between 25 and 50 units. The weaving for each bag takes between 4 to 7 days to complete, and the founders say they prioritise responsible production and fair wages over their profit margin. I'm sure they do. They're clearly doing it for the ethics and not the profit. With this one's wife's involvement, Ms. Ryder and Ms. Fasciano are hoping not only to grow their bag business, well, if they're looking for a bag lady, they've certainly signed up with one, but to eventually expand into other categories and to begin working with female artisans in other developing countries. This one's wife's interest in investing in brands began during the pandemic, when lockdowns meant there was less opportunity to turn a paparazzi moment to her own ends. Her first stake was in Clever Blends, a vegan instant latte company. Now there are between 5 and 10 brands in her portfolio, she said. She sees them as a complement to her own nascent lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, which is doing sweet fuck all. Investing in them has helped me line up for this chapter, where I'm investing in myself, this one's wife said. Yes, well, we all know it's about you, and that's the typical fridge magnet platitude that she trot out. She thinks of her modest venture capital initiative as Dolphin Tank, as opposed to Shark Tank. She said these are friendly waters. Well, thanks to the New York Times for that absolute world exclusive of banality. But it serves a purpose, as always, with this beige woman, as it enables us to understand more about her narcissism. And here, it's her grandiosity, which is, I wear something, the world takes notice. Now, whilst there is some truth in that, she overplays it, as is always the case, because her narcissism tells her that she is amazing, that she is a fashion icon, that she is simply the best when it comes to wearing clothes. And we all have to know, of course, about this one's wife and her fashion effect, because she has to keep mentioning it from time to time in order to assert control and draw fuel. We also have to know about the fact that she's making this investment in supposed ethical investments by virtue of the fact of her facade management. Ultimately, this is just an advertisement that has appeared in the New York Times, and it's portrayed as this one's wife providing us with some breathy insight into why she does as she does. All it does tell us is how grandiose she is, whereby she talks about fashion to a limited extent and reveals that she spends a lot of time Googling online and then goes from there. What a brilliant research method. Isn't that what she used to do when she was with TIG, basically spent her time online, nicking other bits and pieces from elsewhere and putting them together. My goodness, haven't you come a long way, this once wife? Yet again, she may be a dolphin, but she still remains that clapping seal with the irritating honk. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.